the explosion. It's what's interacting in the sky, the way the planets are at any given time, against where the planets were at the time of your birth or the time of whatever birth of the entity at hand. Now, what was so different about 2020 was that something happened that impacted the whole world. This is not the first time this has happened in history, but it's the first time that it has happened in most of our lifetimes on the scale that it has. And the question is, how did this happen? How did this extend from China to around the globe on the scale that it did? And why now? Okay. So what I did, or now just a couple of housekeeping details. I muted everybody. If anybody has questions, okay, it's now 3:04. I'll stop at like 3:20 or so and open the floor and see if anybody has any questions, because I'm sure you have a lot of them. I hope you do. Okay, so 2020, the year of the plague. Here's my first slide. Astrologer saw a worldwide problem that would begin, that would be launched in 2020. How did we see this? What were the indicators? An analysis of the zodiac signs and the degrees within it will provide the answer. Join me on this journey of exploration and discovery. Now, we're going to go back here to the third bullet, an analysis of the zodiac signs and the degrees within it. People all know what the zodiac is, right? You're a Gemini, you're a Leo, you're a Taurus. Okay, zodiac is the Greek root, it's the Greek word for circle of animals. It's where we get the word zoo. It's a circle of animals that spans the planet Earth. Okay, so we have 12 zodiac signs. Within each sign is 30 degrees. 30 degrees times 12 equals 360 degrees equals a circle. Basic geometry. Everything's about 360 degrees. Everything will equal 360 degrees. Everything is based upon this circle. So the key factors to keep in mind, you have 12 signs with 30 degrees in each sign. Simple. Okay. First 6 signs, the 12 signs, first 6. Aries is a cardinal fixed sign. Taurus, fixed earth. Gemini, mutable air. Cancer, cardinal water. Leo, fixed fire. Virgo, mutable earth. Okay? You're saying, well, what is fixed at cardinal and all this? So what does this mean? Okay. The cardinal signs are the signs of initiation. They start everything. Everything changes with the cardinal sign. I'll get into that in a few more minutes. They're the turning points. The fixed signs are the maintenance people. They keep everything going. They hold the fort down. They're the cool heads in the crisis. The house is on fire, fine. There's a new baby coming, fine. They make do. They're like oak trees, you know, they keep everything stable all the time. Gemini, mutable signs, and Gemini's the mutable air sign, but all the mutable signs are the information people. They spread the word, they make connections, they build the roads, they build the telephone lines, they're on the phone, they extend themselves outward, okay? Cardinal, fixed, mutable will become more important as this presentation continues. So you have the first 6 signs. Second 6 signs. Libra, cardinal air. Scorpio, fixed water. Sagittarius, mutable fire. Capricorn, cardinal earth. Aquarius, fixed air. Pisces, mutable water. Okay. You all know these, you've seen these signs, you see them on coffee cups, this is in the media, this is what everybody relates to. These are the 12 signs of the zodiac, but it's important to keep the cardinal, fixed, and mutable status of each sign in your mind, because it's the cardinal signs that are the turning points. And these turning points played a role in this pandemic. So each of these 10 planets, we have 10 planets: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. 10 planets, you learn this in grammar school. Okay, so each of the 10 planets will be in a zodiac sign at any given time during the year. And each planet rules different areas of people's lives. The sun rules creativity, ego, leadership, children, sports, games, speculation, theater, enthusiasm, entertainment, and showmanship. The sun rules Leo, a fixed sign. The sun moves 1 degree per year out of the 30 degrees per sign, and takes 1 year to complete a full cycle. So for example, today the sun is around 10 degrees Leo. A year from now, 365 days from now, the sun will come back to 10 degrees Leo. It takes 1 calendar year to make an orbit around the sun. Okay? The moon. The moon rules sensation, response, the tides, the birth, emotions, feeling, motherhood, nutrition, home, family, ancestry, memory, and the past. The moon is your roots. The moon is your sense of emotional stability, where you feel good, what you need to feel good. Creature comforts, good food. Okay, the moon rules the sign Cancer, which is a cardinal water sign, and the moon moves the fastest of any of our planets. It moves 11 to 15 degrees per day, takes 28 to 29 days to complete its full orbit around the sun. So it moves very quickly in comparison to the other planets. Now, Mercury rules communication, connections, reading, writing, the intellect, the ability to reason, nerves, assimilation, digestion, medicine, cars, commutes, short distance travel, and transportation. Mercury rules 2 signs, Virgo and Gemini. It takes 88 days. Its orbit takes 88 days to circle the sun. Venus. Venus rules music, the arts, socializing, falling in love, partnerships, femininity, money, beauty, adornment, fashion, justice, and your relationships. Venus also rules 2 signs, Taurus and Libra. Takes 225 days. Now remember, it's 365 days a year. It takes 225 days to make its orbit around the sun, to make its full circle. And somebody else wants to come into the room. Excuse me, it's like, yeah, I have to let them in. Okay. And, okay. Okay, so now the next, moving up, we have Mars. Mars is action, bravery, aggression, war, anything military. Pioneering, bravery, masculinity, hunting, heat, action, guarding, protection, weapons and tools, sharp tools, anything sharp, knives, anything that cuts. Mars rules the sign Aries and Scorpio. Mars takes 321 days to orbit the sun. Jupiter. Jupiter sees the big picture with everything. Jupiter rules education, the broadening of a topic, international travel, organized religion, advanced studies, philosophy, ethics, foreign cultures, languages, anything from a culture that is not your own, not the one you were born in, publishing, optimism, and good fortune. Jupiter rules also 2 signs, Sagittarius and Pisces. In modern times, Pisces is ruled by Neptune, but for the purposes of this lecture, it doesn't matter. We're going to stick to the traditional one. Sagittarius and Pisces takes 12 years for Jupiter to move around the sun. 12 years for Jupiter to come back to its original point. Saturn rules restriction, limitations, boundary lines, authority, perseverance, tenacity, determination, patience, ambition, practical applications, discipline, duty, cold weather, responsibility, government, and dedication. Also rules the father principle. Saturn rules 2 signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, and it takes Saturn almost 30 years to go back to its original sign. Now, folks, all of you out there in the audience who are age 30 plus, think about what was happening in your life between the ages of 27 and 30. Because between the ages of 27 and 30, people have what's known as their Saturn return. Saturn rearranges your priorities. Can anybody out there relate to the fact that between the ages of 27 and 30, your life changed dramatically? You either moved, you got married, you had a kid, whatever. It's a complete change. You bought property, you sold property, you got in a long-term relationship, you broke up a long-term relationship. There's a turning point. There's a huge change in people's lives when Saturn comes back to its original point on the day of your birth. Okay, we're going to move forward. Okay, getting back to Saturn here. Give me a second here. Saturn is the last planet that humans can see with the naked eye. If you're out there on a clear night and Saturn happens to be visible that night, you will be able to see it with the naked eye, as well as all the other planets, Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus, you know, all the way back to the sun. Of course, you see the moon every night. You look up and there it is. You can see these planets under the right conditions. But moving forward, going out to the outer planets, you cannot see them without a telescope. And these planets rule things that are beyond everyday activities. Okay, Uranus rules rebellion, aviation, bohemianism, free thinking, radical changes, independence, and humanitarian efforts. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. Uranus takes 84 years to circle the sun, 84. Neptune rules mysticism, psychic ability, empathy, compassion, spirituality, imagination, solitude, charity, and anything connected to the ocean. I left out, it also rules drugs, delusions, alcohol. I don't need to elaborate from there. It's escapism. Your reality is either very spiritual or very artificial because it's drug induced. The trick with Neptune is to make it have a strong spiritual foundation so that you're always on the spiritual path and therefore you won't need drugs. Okay, so Neptune takes 164 years to circle the sun. Now notice, going back to Uranus, people can live to be 84 years old. That's not unusual in the 21st century. People don't live to be 164. It just doesn't work that way. Now here we are with the last planet that we're concerning ourselves with today is Pluto. Pluto rules atomic energy, money that you don't earn yourself, Social Security, alimony, money that you inherit, money that you win, taxes, credit, interest rates, borrowing and lending, transformational change, the cycle of birth and death. Think of how the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. There's a huge transformational change going on. Oh, and the sexual act is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio, takes 240 years to circle the sun. And nobody lives to be 240 years now. Okay, so keeping in mind there's 30 degrees for each sign, which brings me, and there's 12 signs. Now we're coming to the cardinal axis. Remember we talked about cardinal, fixed, immutable. Now we're on the cardinal axis. Each sign of the zodiac has, oh wait, no, hold on. You know what? It's 20 past and I will stop. And people, if you have a question, please unmute yourselves and ask it, before I move forward? Because I muted people. Wait, now where's the thing to? Anybody have a question?
I have a question. Can
Go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Sure, go ahead.
Tell me about the part you talked about cardinal, it ruling at this moment.
At this moment, we have 3 planets, or 4 right today. We have 4 planets in cardinal signs. Cardinal is where the action is. I mean, they all have action. It's just different forms of action. And it's where things are initiated. Think of a fire. Okay, the cardinal action of a fire would be like lighting the match. That would be Aries. The bonfire, the strong, steady fire that just burns all the time, that would be Leo. Okay, but it stays in one place as a bonfire. That's fixed.
Right.
That's the fixed energy. Now, the mutable energy of a fire would be like a forest fire because it's spreading out of control. It's going all over the place, right? That would be Sagittarius. It's mutable and it's spreading. But you're saying now, what's happening now? It's not happening now, Jose. It happened in January. This
Right.
past January was a great deal of cardinal action.
Right.
And I will get to that in 2 seconds in the next series of slides. But does anybody have any questions about what I just talked about? No. Okay. I'll move forward. Okay, here we are in the cardinal axis. Each sign has 30 degrees. There's 2 degrees Gemini, 28 degrees Scorpio, 1 degree Pisces, 12 signs, each has 30 degrees. Okay. 12 signs, 30 degrees, see the circle, okay. A degree is composed of 60 minutes. There's 60 minutes in a degree, 30 degrees per sign, 12 signs. Times 30 equals 360. Okay. So in astrology, the cardinal signs mark the seasons of the year. In the northern hemisphere where we're living, here we are in, northern New Jersey, the summer solstice occurs on June 22nd when the sun enters the sign Cancer. And on December 22nd, when the sun enters Capricorn, we enter the season of winter. Cardinal, the word cardinal comes from the Latin word cardo, means hinge. It's a turning point, something's turning. It's enabling something, a hinge enables something to open or close. In this case, it's the opening or closing of a season, okay? So on the solstice dates, the sun will be at either 0 degrees of Cancer or 0 degrees of Capricorn, depending on the season. The areas of the zodiac that are located at 0 degrees of a cardinal sign are known as the cardinal axis because these are the turning points. These are the degrees where everything's changing. Even if you meet someone on the street and you have a chit-chat conversation, what's happening around you on these dates? The weather is changing. The seasons are changing. It's getting cold. It's getting too hot or whatever. These are turning points. You're opening a new season of the year and you're closing the door on another. Okay? So you have 0 degrees Aries, 0 degrees Cancer, 0 degrees Libra, 0 degrees Capricorn. The seasons are changing. So wherever these degrees fall of 0 degrees cardinal in a horoscope is where the action is. Okay? They elevate that area of the person's life from low visibility to high visibility. If it's the horoscope of an event, it means a huge impact will take place. These are highly, highly energized degrees. Wherever you see 0 cardinal is where the action is. Now, math and measurement. The zodiac is a circle. It equals 30 degrees. As I said earlier, the divisions of these circles are broken down into what's known as harmonics. 360 divided by 2 is 180. This is the second harmonic because you're dividing by 2. Note that the 0 Cancer and 0 Capricorn are 180 degrees apart. This is called an opposition. Oppositions produce tension. So now we have 360 divided by 3 is 120. This is the third harmonic. It's divisor is 2. No, I'm sorry. That's a mistake. The divisor is 3. Sorry. This aspect is called a trine. It makes conditions easy, flow easily. 360 divided by 4 is 90 degrees. This aspect is called a square. It produces action. Not always pleasant action, but action. This is the fourth harmonic, and the divisor is 4. You divide 360 by 4, you get 90. Okay. 90 degrees means action. Always in astrology. Okay. Fourth harmonic is the one that we use to determine the hard angles in a horoscope. These are the angles that signify action, which manifests into events and periods of high productivity for better or worse. Squares always produce actions, and so do its smaller components. 90 degrees divided by 4. We're going to take this one step further now and divide 90 by 4. That's 22 degrees and 30 minutes. So 22 degrees and 30 minutes of a cardinal sign can be just as powerful as 0 degrees of a cardinal sign. Yes. The cardinal axis, think of Times Square. You're in New Jersey, or most of you are, I think, and I think you've had experiences at least being in New York City at some point in your life. The cardinal axis is similar to Times Square. It puts you right at the epicenter of where the action is, right in the matrix of all this pulsating energy. Any planet at one of these degrees, at 0 degrees cardinal sign or 22.5 degrees of cardinal sign, has a pulsing, electrifying impact that will connect you to the world at large. All you have to do is stand in Times Square and feel that energy. If you have a degree in your horoscope on one of these degrees, you will have very strong proclivity to put this energy in your horoscope out into the world. It's where you will get noticed. In ancient times, people worshipped the turning points of the seasons at 0 degrees at Capricorn and Cancer. Think of Stonehenge. Think of the pyramids. This was built on the seasons and the flooding of the Nile. These were the turning points of the year, and ancient peoples worshipped this sort of thing. Okay? So, where does that bring us to COVID-19? What the heck does this have to do with COVID-19? Well, I'll tell you. Right? You think, yes. Well, what has this got to do with the disease? Okay. All right. Okay. On January 12th. Okay, now pay attention, Jose, here. On January 12th, 2020, Saturn, the planet of restrictions and government. Okay? And Pluto, the planet of transformational change and the cycle of life and death, each conjoined each other in the degree of 22 degrees of Capricorn. There's like one chance in 360 of this happening, right? I mean, this is so unusual. Can happen 1 or 2 times in a century, maybe not even, because they've got to orbit all the other 300 and whatever degrees. But this past January, 2 heavy-duty players stopped their motion at 22 degrees of Capricorn.
Wow.
To make the whole world feel like it was in Times Square, right? High alert, red alert, pulsating energy. These 2 planets in the same degree in astrology is called a conjunction. A conjunction is the strongest aspect possible in a horoscope. And on this day, January 12th, it occurred on the super powerful degree. almost as powerful as an eclipse. You follow me? It's
Yep.
really, really strong. It's like a sledgehammer of action that's going to come down very hard. Now, it's strong enough when one planet is at this degree, but to have two on the same degree on the same day is almost unheard of. And that's what we had on that day. So people like me saw this coming, and we knew it was going to be a whammy, a whammy, a whammy, but we couldn't put our finger on what. Okay, so we forewarned of cataclysmic change, but were unable to pinpoint exactly how it would occur. Since 22 degrees of cardinal signs is on the world axis or the cardinal axis, world axis and cardinal axis, these terms are used interchangeably. We knew it would impact the world at large and not just 2 or 3 countries. You understand, okay? Because if it's 0 degrees or 22 degrees, it affects everybody. If it's at the winter solstice, if the temperature drops to 0, it doesn't affect 1 or 2 people, right? PSE&G gets in on the act. Everybody's freezing. All right, this is a big event. It impacts everybody, right? Saturn conjoins Pluto every few decades, but when it does, major ramifications follow. Now we're going to take a little trip back in history to see what's happened in other time. Wait, does everybody understand what I just demonstrated about the cardinal axis?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. If anybody has a question, unmute yourself and ask me now, please. Otherwise, you're going to lose me and not follow what I'm driving at. Okay. No questions? Okay. Okay. So here's what happened throughout history when these whammies occur in the sky. It doesn't affect 1 or 2 people. You see, it has a mass impact. Okay, in 1284, traders in Venice introduced a gold coin that became the standard of European currency for the next 600 years, okay? This made a change that lasted 600 years. Think of the Merchant of Venice and Shakespeare, right? Businessmen. Venice was like Wall Street at that time. It really was. Okay, in 1518, Martin Luther tacked his 95 Theses on the door of the Wittenberg Castle, marking the beginning of the Protestant Reformation, which rewrote the whole map of Europe. Martin Luther insisted on the elimination of plenary indulgences. He insisted all these changes be made to Catholicism, and people can't buy their way into heaven through relics and bones and bribing priests and this sort of thing, which was common at that time. The clergy was very corrupt, and there are those who will argue that they still are, and maybe they are. But this marked the beginning of a religious movement that rewrote the map of Europe. Does any of this sound familiar with changes in religion that are going on in the world today? They just made Hagia Sophia in Istanbul a mosque. And for the previous 100 years, it was a museum, you see. It's a world event, right?
Yeah.
Not just impacting 2 or 3 people. It's not like impacting one town, like, oh, you're Protestant, you have to go to this church now instead of this one. It impacts the world. It impacts tourism around the world. Okay. Moving forward to 1884, you see this happens rarely. It doesn't happen that often when they both can join each other together. 1884, beginning of a recession. 1914, okay, Saturn conjoined Pluto at 2 degrees of Cancer, 2 degrees away, very close in the degree of to 0, in the sign of Cancer, which is when World War I began, okay? It affected the world, not 2 or 3 countries. It had a broad global impact. Now on July 15th, 1916, there was an eclipse at 22 degrees of the cardinal signs, right on the world axis. This eclipse happened right in the middle of the Battle of the Somme in World War I, one of the bloodiest battles in human history. It was 1 million people. Sorry. It was over 1 million people died in that battle. And that turned people's heads to the point that they said this will be the war to end all wars, because this carnage is beyond belief. We will never have another world war. There will never be an incident like this. Okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry. 1 people died in the whole battle, but 57,000 British, over almost 58,000 soldiers died in one day, which was unprecedented. Okay, here we are in the 21st century, here in the 20th century, August 11th, 1947, Saturn conjoined Pluto in Leo, not on the cardinal axis, but on this day, India, on that day, on that, not that week or that month, that day, India was granted independence from Great Britain, known to all Indians as the partition. Ask them. The Indian people will tell you all about it. And Europe and the USA were recovering from World War II. So India split from India into India and Pakistan. That was the beginning of it. Watch Gandhi, okay? 1982, another economic recession, the Falklands War, and hello, the epidemic of AIDS, okay? AIDS came in 1982 when Saturn was conjoining Pluto. Okay, so here we are. The next time was January 2020, when the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto on the world axis, right on it at 22 degrees Capricorn, was the COVID-19 pandemic, and it affected government, Saturn, other people's money, Pluto, the economy, Pluto, and there was a pandemic like there was in 1982 with AIDS, and now we have COVID. Okay, we're not over yet, folks. That was January. We're not done. No, we are not done. Wait, questions so far? Anybody have any questions? Because I'm trying to pinpoint why this happened this year as opposed to other years. Okay. Okay, here we go. And the okay, so there's more 22 degrees, because as I say, we are not done. On October 4th, Pluto, the planet of transformation, the planet of life and death, from the caterpillar to the butterfly, to the economy, stations, means it stops its movement, turns direction, and goes backwards. No, in this case, it's going to go forwards. It's going backwards now. At the cardinal axis at 22 degrees of Capricorn. A station occurs when a planet appears to change the direction of their orbit. It is an optical illusion, but at stations, when planets appear to change signs, the course of their direction, the energy of the planet will intensify. Now, going back to when I say that this is an optical illusion. Okay, pretend, you're watching a wheel spin and you see the spokes of the wheel spin, and then for a split second, it's going to look like they were going backwards when you know they're not, but your eyes are telling you that they are, right? That's an optical illusion, okay? Everybody sees this, it's not just you. But when this happens in outer space, when a planet appears to be changing its direction, it happens at a certain degree. And when a planet turns direction like that, the energy of that degree intensifies and packs a bigger wallop. So this station on October 4th, mark my words here, will have a huge impact on the world stage. Could be another lockdown, could be the announcement of a vaccine. It's going to be a world recession, a world depression, I don't know, but there will be something that packs a wallop across the globe.
Jackie,
now, yes.
I got a question in terms of somebody's born on October 4th.
They're going to have one intense life, let me tell you. They will be a mover and shaker. They will either be a surgeon, or they're going to be leading people into combat, or they're going to be inciting a riot. They're going to be movers and shakers, big time.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. They're going to be nuclear-powered personalities. Really tough cookies. Really tough cookies. They could do amazing things, and they could be like Charles Manson, okay?
Right.
They're going to require very, very careful handling, believe me. Not that they're innately bad people, you know. It's just it's how think of like think of like a dog. Okay, you go to the dog pound and you get a dog. Now, are you going to treat this dog so well that it's going to pull you out of a burning building, or is it going to turn on you and bite your leg off? Right?
Right.
Right. It's all in how you treat it. Right?
Right. I see.
Yeah. Got it? Yeah. It
Okay,
has
thanks.
potential. Yeah, you're welcome. It has potential to do amazing things, providing how you treat it.
Right.
Okay, right. Now, this station will have a huge impact. Oh, I said that. Okay, so we're not even done with that. The planet Pluto's making a station. We are now in a Pluto return. What do I mean by that? Okay, remember I said earlier that between the ages, people out here in the audience today, between the ages of 27 and 30, you had what's known, all human beings have this, have what's known as your Saturn return. Your life will change. Your priorities in your life will change. That's Saturn because it takes 27 to 30 years for it to come full circle. Typically, it's 29 and 100 and something days. But in the ballpark, ages 27 to 29, your whole life will go through a major, major change. That's Saturn. Now, Pluto is returning to the degree that Pluto occupied in the horoscope, in the chart of the United States. The United States was born on July 4th, 1776, right? Declaration of Independence, and we became independent from Great Britain. On that day, Pluto was in a certain degree of Capricorn, of the sign of Capricorn. And here we are 240 years later, or 240 odd years later, and Pluto is now returning to that same degree, and to the ballpark of that same degree, where we will have more transformational change. At this time, Pluto was at 27 degrees of Capricorn retrograde. And again, retrograde occurs when the planet's moving backward. Okay. So it takes 240 years to orbit throughout the entire zodiac and thus return to the degree of 27 Capricorn. 1776 plus 240 equals 2016. Pow. What happened in 2016, folks? Donald Trump got elected. Yeah, the election. Donald Trump got elected. And people had all kinds of question marks over how did this happen, right? Mm-hmm. Was it chicanery? Was there manipulation? By the way, Pluto rules manipulation and action that takes place behind the scenes. And when you think of Pluto, think of kind of like the mafia. They operate behind the scenes, but they're still operating, right? Okay? Jose knows what I'm saying. Okay. So, however, remember, Pluto, not that I taught this, Pluto has a very weird orbit. It goes in and out in an ellipse, and it can take 240, sometimes 245 years to return to its full circle of the degree in a horoscope. So on February 3rd, 2022, Pluto returns to 27 degrees of Capricorn. At this time, our nation will undergo a major, major, major transformation. Again, I don't know what. I cannot pinpoint what. Nobody can. Don't let them tell you that they can. But there are huge, huge changes coming. Okay, this is the chart. This is the horoscope of the United States. July 4th, 1776. 5:03 p.m. Philadelphia, Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia. Now, here's Pluto down here. See my little cursor at 27 Capricorn. Okay. Pluto right now is 23 Capricorn. It's opposing Mercury. And what's going on in Mercury? Mercury rules the press. Mercury rules information. Mercury rules elementary education. People are flipping out. They don't want to put their kids back in a classroom. Do they have to learn remotely? Like retrograde is weird. Like it's an unusual expression of the planet. And now kids learn their 3 R's in front of a Zoom screen every day. They have to sign in and they go to school on a computer. Very weird, right? It's changing everything. And Pluto's coming back to this degree. Okay, so I did a little more homework, guys, and we have Pluto returns throughout history. And I thought to myself, oh, you know what? I'll use the UK, Great Britain, because that's so old. But you know what? That didn't become a nation until 1801, when it became Great Britain. Prior to that, it was just England and their satellites. It didn't, like Great Britain, England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales was not founded till 1801 on paper. So I had to find a place that had a very long history that comprised 240 plus years. So I got Rome, okay? Founded the eternal city, right? What's 250 years to Rome, right? Means nothing to them. That's like 20 minutes. Now, Rome, founded 753 BC. Now we're going to add 240 years, 530. I left everything till the Common Era, or AD. 207 AD, there were new coins minted, and the currency changed throughout the empire. It affected everybody. Here's a change that affects everybody. You add 240 to 447, there was an earthquake in Byzantium, which is the seat of the Eastern Roman Empire. Earthquake affects everybody. It's not just one or two people who live near the earthquake, okay? 240 or 447 plus 687, the Civil War broke out in northern Italy. 240 plus 927, I couldn't really find too much in 927, I'm sorry to say. 1167, all right, so that's 927 plus 240, 1167. There was a battle of the city of Rome versus, I think the army of the commune of Rome was, defeated by the forces of the Holy Roman Empire. This was when Rome morphed into a Holy Roman Empire. Ancient Rome, Holy Roman Empire, two different things. This was the defining battle, 1167 AD. Now we're adding 240 to 1167. We get 1407. The Pope was forced to abdicate to end the schism in the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church split up at this time. There was a Pope in Avignon in France and one in Rome. Huge, huge changes. Huge. Okay, plus 240, 1647 was the end of the 30 Years' War. Over 1 million people died. Rewrote the map of the Holy Roman Empire. Changed the map of Europe. Adding 240 years, you got 1887, there was another earthquake. So now we're adding 240 years to 2001-27 Common Era. Well, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to be, but there's going to be a huge change. We're still not done, folks. Still not done.
I love it.
2020 is a year like you don't want to know. Okay, so November 30th, this coming November, there's an eclipse at 8 degrees of Gemini. Now, we're going to go back up to the US chart, and we will see that Uranus is at 8 degrees of Gemini. Okay? Uranus over here. See where my cursor is? 8 degrees Gemini. 8 degrees of Gemini. Okay, so that's going to be a very Uranian change. Huge, huge change this coming November. What happens this November? Another election. The election is early November. Is it going to be contested? Yes, I think so. It won't be the first time an American election has been contested. I think it's going to be contested. They're going to probably make up their minds as to who really won in November at the end of the month. Okay. The areas that will be impacted will be communication, education, transportation, commutes, phones, emails. Uranus rules technology. So more changes will take place. And what technology is computers, and many people vote on computers, right? And computers allegedly count the votes, do they not? Okay? It's counted electronically. And it's going to be a big deal. Is the post office going to count them? Will your ballot matter? Is your vote going to matter because you're doing it on a computer? Whatever. I'm not here to talk politics, but there's all this controversy will arise. Now, not only that, we're going to go back to the chart for a minute now. Now, Uranus is conjunct this line in the horoscope of the United States, and this is the descendant, and this is the house of your open enemies. There could be an attack, and I'm not saying a bomb. I don't mean that kind of attack. I mean a cyber attack, because it's Uranus, it's technology. There could be a cyber attack at that time. Okay, now I'm trying to make light of it. Any questions so far?
No, I'm good.
Okay, what lies ahead? On December 20th, keep in mind, we just had a big hit on November 30th. Month later, 3 weeks later, Jupiter, the planet of expansion and good fortune, and Saturn, the planet of restriction, will be out of Capricorn and into the sign of Aquarius, which is free thinking. Think of Bohemians, think of Woodstock, right? The sign of science, technology, and progressive thinking. What I see happening, this is kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel, what we're seeing, at least in terms of COVID. I think at that time, a vaccination may be in place that will have a measure of success. Will I say that this is going to solve all the problems? No, I don't think so. But it's not as ugly as the stuff that we're having during the year on the cardinal axis, because 0 Aquarius is not the cardinal axis. But it is going to have a positive impact, I think. And it's going to work in the areas of expansion and technology for the better. So that's pretty much what I have here. I mean, I threw a lot at you. I really did. But the thing is, you have to understand what happened in January to cause that had this incredible ripple effect throughout the world. We saw it coming, but we couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was. But we knew something huge was coming. It's like standing on a beach and seeing a storm cloud. Now, is this going to be a cloud burst or is this going to be a hurricane? But you see the clouds coming. Okay. There's a very, very detailed description of the cardinal axis in my book. It's on Amazon. So if you want to learn more of how I arrived at what I did, you could buy it on Amazon and read my entire chapter on the cardinal axis. Questions? Come on, folks. I threw a lot at you. I threw a lot at you in this 1 hour because I had to drive home the message of the intense energy that was up in the sky this year.
What about on September 11th? That's when we had the opposition of Pluto-Saturn.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, wait. You mean, oh, yeah. Oh, September 11th, 2001. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah, very good. Yes.
Breakdown of structure. But that's also, right. One of the things you didn't touch on is was yesterday with the Beirut bombing.
Right. I didn't get a chance to do the chart of Beirut.
Mars. Right. But we had the Mars-Pluto square. Mars is starting to activate over 3, which they're calling it. By the way, I've been studying astrology for many years. I used to be one of Mira Epstein's students.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, yeah. I was just Mira and I are colleagues. I just emailed her this morning. Wonderful. Go ahead.
Yep. So, one of the things I'm noticing is like now we've got Mars is going to activate this trio, because what do we have? Because I was sitting here playing with one of my apps on my phone while you were talking. So on the 13th of August, we've got Mars squaring Pluto exactly.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
what are you
and
thinking
yeah,
on that?
what I'm thinking of that's a very good point. I'm sorry, and your name is?
Evan Antonini?
Okay.
Jackie,
Yes.
this is the particular person I was talking about. That right through a friend of mine, and I mentioned your name.
Okay.
No, well, she. I mean, what
I
am I trying to
saw that
say?
it was you because I know of you.
Oh, okay.
You do a lot of Urian astrology.
No, I don't do a lot of Uranian. I know it. I can't. Now you see, Uranians will out there will say, "Oh, well, she's talking about the cardinal axis, so what she's really doing is Uranian."
Yeah. Let's not go there because that's very.
I know. Yeah,
But I
Uranian's
was
a
just
whole other
curious.
thing. All right, but
Right.
getting back to your question, Evan, about what I think is going to happen. Okay, we had it yesterday with Beirut, the explosion. That's 5,000 miles away. We have it here with the hurricane what, Isaias, right? And there's going to be more Mishigash or whatever the the Yiddish expression of it is. Though I'm not Jewish, they have really good terms for this sort of thing. Of a big mess that's going to happen next week when Mars is going to square Saturn. Okay, I was born with a Mars square Saturn. All right, I was born with a lot of squares to the planet Saturn, and it was during the hottest summer of the decade. There was a huge buildup of energy because I was born with a whole lot of planets in Leo, and they were all squaring Saturn. When you have these massive confrontations in the sky, produces really intense things. But what happened right after I was born, there was a hurricane. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is there's going to be probably either more intense weather conditions, another explosion of some kind, some really disturbing information will come out. But I think it's beyond information. I think it's going to be action, like an explosion or something like that.
Well, yeah, Mars typically does generate action. But so we've got next Thursday on the 13th, Mars will be squaring Pluto exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I put in current time. And then when is it going to hit Saturn?
Well, I'll tell you in a second. It will.
Flipping through.
It'll be soon after that. Well, Saturn.
Around the around 24th.
Yeah, around the 24th.
Yeah,
well, Mars square Saturn. That's Mars square Saturn. Okay, when I taught in the adult schools all those years ago, I would say when I was teaching aspects, I said, okay, people, you want to know what Mars square Saturn is? Go in the supermarket and go in the detergents and look at Arm & Hammer. Look at the label of Arm & Hammer. You got that arm and a hammer, Arm & Hammer, and it implies action because some hard work's going to be done, and this person means business with that hammer in their hand. A lot of stuff is going to go down. It can be very constructive. It could be building a building, as an Arm & Hammer, or it could be breaking something down.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as we know, I mean, and I don't know, I don't want to jump ahead, but we're going into that Mars retrograde starting in September.
Yep.
Which is then going to come back and square all these planets again.
Yep. And there are going to be more weather conditions. There are going to be more hurricanes. I was watching Hurricane Central yesterday. Hurricanecentral.com is a really cool website, by the way, if you're interested. So that's way cool. And they got a history of hurricanes. Hurricanes have devastated the East and Texas and Galveston and all this. Even they said this is going to be an extremely active hurricane season.
Right.
And that's probably what that Mars is going to generate. Got that, Jose?
Yes. I just like what, in terms of what's coming up, just to be careful of situations that might occur.
Yeah, we're what's coming up is extremely volatile. We're very, very volatile conditions.
And it will be living in time.
Yeah, extremely volatile conditions that will continue right until 2021. And of course, as I said, we have our exact Pluto return in February of 2022. And that's going to generate a huge change as well throughout the globe. Oh, I mean, actually, I shouldn't say that throughout the globe. in February 2022, that impacts America because that's where Pluto was on July 4th, 1776. And in February 2022, Pluto will come back to that same degree as it was in 1776. So we will have our Pluto return, and we will have, the nation of America will experience transformational change.
Right.
Sorry,
Jose.
No. I just wanted to see if anybody has any questions
Yeah, I
in
have a
terms of
question.
astrology. Yes, go ahead.
I have a question in regards, since Miss Jackie has been so nice and to educate us this afternoon. I just want to know in regards to your knowledge of the planet Saturn and how the signs and the planet that orbits, spirituality, religion-wise, how it was designed through the planet Saturn, according to certain, intellects that study the stars and astrology in general. Some of them have an understanding that the planet Saturn may have something to do with the negative energy that is involving our universe, especially our planet, as far as these events and things of that nature. Can you enlighten me on that? You have,
Yeah, well, you're saying that the planet Saturn is impacting what is the negative qualities of what's happening now. I'm not certain I understand your question completely.
Well, what I'm saying is, as far as your knowledge of the planet Saturn, because of what I've read in certain, Egyptian, articles and things like that, as far as how religion was manifested, all the different religions that goes way back before, Jesus Christ itself. They say that the planet Saturn, something about the planet Saturn and the orbit and the rays, there's a negative, energy, a negative form that kind of, it's like a parasite that deceives, that basically human beings can create and we evolve and we can create a masterpiece, but that negative energy cannot basically create. It could basically deceive you. It could make the picture distorted. So it's kind of the distortion that we live in now. So
well, yes, and I would take that. I wouldn't say distortion. I would say destruction. Okay,
right.
Because Saturn also can produce famine and economic depression and depression in human beings. Saturn is the author of depression, okay? And Saturn is the author of poverty and want and deprivation and restriction. Okay, Saturn can really suck it to you in ways you just can't imagine.
Yeah, so I guess, kind of, you have an understanding of that as far as.
Well, what's happening now is that,
famine and that kind of like the.
Well, yes, but I'm not saying that we will experience.
Correct?
Yeah, we're not going to. I'm saying we're not going to. We will experience restrictions, which we're having now. We will experiencing a lack of supplies, lack of basics, and we have that now. Go to the supermarket. You're not going to find everything you want like you did 8 months ago. You won't. It just doesn't work that way. It has impacting everything. And Saturn, and the reason the ancients zeroed in on Saturn so much is because on clear nights, these, the ancient Chaldeans who were the high priests and all that, that was the planet that was left available to the naked eye. You see, they knew it was a planet and they could see it through the naked eye, and you can't see the ones beyond it. But Saturn is playing a role in it now, particularly because it stationed, I'm not saying it's stationed, it conjoined Pluto at 22 degrees on the cardinal axis in January. So in that respect, all the attributes of Saturn, positive and negative, were magnified.
Broken down.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else?
I find that Saturn is more about structure. Boy, I don't mind a Saturn transit. Let me tell you, I'd take a Saturn transit over a Pluto square in a heartbeat.
That's because, okay, no, I appreciate that.
Neptune. A Neptune transit is what I can't handle.
Yeah.
But I would count Saturn required hard work.
Oh, Saturn makes you work very hard. And the reason you say that you'll take a Saturn transit over a Neptune transit is because probably in your natal chart, Evan, you have a pleasant Saturn. You don't have
a very prominent Saturn. I have a
Yeah.
27, 28 degree Aquarius Saturn Mercury conjunction.
Oh, that's
So,
wonderful because
yeah.
Saturn is in dignity there. See, I have a
Yeah.
lousy Saturn. I have a very, very,
No,
I have a
I'm blessed
very,
with my Saturn.
yeah, you are. I'm not. See, so Saturn transits put me in the hospital with
Oh.
bedpans and oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
no,
Really?
no.
Go
But I have
away.
Pluto
Okay.
on my ascendant. So when Pluto came around and hit my T-square, when it hit my descendant, not my descendant, my the cusp of the fourth house, it was, woo, talk about a total life change. But in any event,
But if you have Pluto on your ascendant,
Virgo.
that's a nuclear powered personality, and you might have been born under really unusual, really difficult or unusual conditions.
I was born in 9 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yes, I was supposed to be a leap year baby, but I was born in the hallways during a blizzard.
Yep. There you go.
Astrologist. So
there you see how astrology works, folks. It's so amazing.
Jackie, anybody else have another question for Jackie?
I have one quick question. So with all the planets, why do you look so excited that I'm asking a question? Look at your face. My question is, so with all of this stuff happening with the planets aligning and there's so many main events happening throughout the year, is that pretty much reserved for those specific dates when the planets are doing specific things, or the year as a whole? For instance, somebody that was born in this year, is this year like any indication that it will affect them significantly like throughout their life because so many weird events went on, or was it just reserved for specific events based on how the planets are aligning?
That's a very good question. The closer the person is born to the dates that the cardinal axis is activated, that will affect them for well, I shouldn't say it affect them. Yeah, but yes, it can affect them for the rest of their lives. If they're born like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where the cardinal axis really wasn't that activated, then no. I mean, they're going to have a life like anybody else's, but they may have childhood memories of this, depending on their age and that sort of thing.
Okay.
The closer you're born to, let's say, all right, so it happened January 20, I forget the date, January 20th, that was conjunction. If a baby's born around that, oh yeah, you have a very tough cookie on your hands. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yep, my baby was born in May, so he's good.
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, yep.
Anybody else? Jackie, again, I want to thank you. I just continue learning, listening to you to speak. Again, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I didn't expect to have such a big audience.
Well, Jackie, I've recorded it, and it will be posted on YouTube down the road.
Oh, thank you so much. And if people want to contact me, would you please give them my email address? You know what?
I was just going to say that, too. There's a way that we can, reach out to you if we have any questions and we want to learn more about this.
Okay.
This is my website, geocosmicstudies.com.
Will give that to us.
And my, JC. There you go, folks. That's how to reach me.
Did you get that, Rodrigo?
Nah, you just email it to me. Because
Okay.
I'm like lagging. It's like cutting on and off. I didn't really catch what Jackie
All right,
was saying.
then.
But thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Alejandra, Jackie, I want you to introduce my daughter, my stepdaughter, Alejandra. She just had a baby.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Where is she? Hold on. Wait, let me see if I can find her. Hella.
Oh, it says Maria on it. It's my first name.
Maria Clara?
Clarity.
Okay, hold on. Maria Clara. No, that's not what I'm seeing. I see Maria Clara. I see 2 Maria Claras, and I see a Marcella. I'm not seeing.
I see myself. There should be Maria Clarity.
Oh, yes. There are.
That's
Now
me.
I see you. How do you do,
I asked
Maria?
the question about the baby being born this year.
Yes. Well, congratulations. I
Thank
had
you.
3 baby. Having a
It
baby
was-
changes
It
your
was a
life like
crazy
nothing
year
else.
to give birth in, for sure. It's really weird to be pregnant during a pandemic.
Oh, I
But it
can't
was really
imagine.
peaceful because I was just home a lot. So
Good.
it centered me. So it was good. It was a really good delivery. So I'm not too
Good.
worried about it.
Good for you. I'm
Thank you.
glad. Congrats.
Thank you.
Well, again, thank you. And Jackie, we shall, bring you on again.
Well, thank you. And so, folks, if you want to contact me, I'm Jackie Slevin. I do horoscope readings. I don't teach per se that much anymore unless it's a webinar like this. I don't teach a full course. I would recommend, Evan mentioned that she studied with Mayura Epstein. I can't recommend Mayura highly enough. She's a fantastic teacher, as Evan will attest. But if you want to contact me to have a horoscope read, jcslevin, SLEVIN @gmail.com.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
for coming. Bye-bye. Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Titi, I'll see you
Bye.
later, Titi.
Okay. Bye.
Jackie, thank you.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Take care. Bye.
Evan, I'm going to speak to George later.
Okay.
All
Take it easy. Thank you.
right, Jackie,
Bye.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's. Colleen. Okay, where am I gonna?
Okay.